What's good? This is JVB representing SPD, and that is sportsperdiem.com. Well. That was fast. Let me touch on the game just a little bit. So it was confirmed that Tariq Cohen tore his ACL in the game against the Atlanta Falcons yesterday. First of all, for Tariq Cohen, man, how lucky was this guy? Yes, he tore his ACL, but this man signed a contract extension last week. Just imagine if he never signed that contract extension. He wouldn't have been getting that much money, at least from the Bears. If anything, they would have got him for a discount. But yes, it is unfortunate that the Bears do lose one of their offensive weapons in Tariq Cohen. Say what you want to say about Tariq Cohen, and me personally, I wouldn't have given him that contract extension. I think you can go out and get those hybrid type of players like Tariq Cohen in the draft. But it is what it is. They gave him the contract extension. I hope they give Allen Robinson his contract extension, but they gave Tariq Cohen the contract extension. It's just unfortunate that he tears his ACL in yesterday's game against the Falcons. All right, now with that out the way, let's talk about it. I don't know if the name should be Mitch Trubisky or should I say Miss Trubisky for all the receivers he missed. For Ryan Pace missing in that 2017 draft, the Mitch Trubisky experiment, the Mitch Trubisky era, it's over. Even if he comes in to replace Nick Foles, whether that's performance issues or that's an injury, the Mitch Trubisky era, the Mitch Trubisky run here in Chicago, it's over. I made a video right before Matt Nagy was going to make his decision. I made a video talking about Mitch Trubisky will not be the Bears starting quarterback. That indeed it will be Nick Foles. Now, of course, Mitch Trubisky started the season. And not only did he start those first two games, well, I guess he started 3 games, but those first 2 games, they won. In week 1, they came back. He led the comeback to defeat the Detroit Lions. But even after that game, even after the game with the Giants, I still had no faith. It was the same old Mitch. The same old stuff we saw last year is the exact same stuff that was going on in the first 2 games with Mitch Trubisky. And yes, they went 2-0. And like I said in my week 2 recap video, I'm happy about that. I'm happy that the Bears played how they played and they were still undefeated. They were still 2-0 to start the young season. But I also said Mitch Trubisky, Matt Nagy, this whole Bears offense, this whole Bears team, they need to be better. So fast forward to week 3, yesterday's game against the Atlanta Falcons. And they ain't giving the defense no slack. In the first half, the defense wasn't good. They started off the game giving up a play action to Calvin Ridley for like 60-some yards, and then the Falcons end up punching it in for a touchdown. And then you had the backup running back, Brian Hill, on a draw play, go 40-some odd yards to the end zone, untouched. And the Bears defense just couldn't keep contained on those draw plays. We saw Ty Gurley and Brian Hill gashing them up, getting big chunk plays, scoring touchdowns, not being touched. And to make matters worse, Julio didn't even play. They slot receiver Russell Gage, I believe he got a concussion, but he was out the game in the second quarter. And the defense was still getting lit up. Now, despite the run defense being unspectacular, I do have to give credit to this Bears pass rush led by Khalil Mack. It felt like every single snap that the Falcons had, where Matt Ryan wasn't throwing the ball quickly, it felt like Khalil Mack was just flying off the line. And the Bears defense did get some tough breaks because Khalil Mack had a strip sack on Matt Ryan. But after Matt Ryan fumbled the ball, Mario Edwards come in like Superman, flying helmet first, running right into Matt Ryan, into his helmet. They called roughing the passer, so that turnover was denied. It was not a smart play for Mario Edwards, and it cost the Bears not only the turnover, but it cost the Bears getting some momentum on offense. Mitch Trubisky in that offense needed that momentum. They needed that turnover in Falcons territory. Speaking of Mitch Trubisky, this Bears offense in momentum, at the end of the third quarter, they had no momentum. The offense against a depleted Atlanta Falcons defense. Even when they're healthy, it's not a good defense. But Mitch Trubisky and company, they couldn't do anything. The defensive back shutting it down. Mitch Trubisky holding on to the ball too long. Mitch Trubisky overthrowing guys like usual. Overthrowing Anthony Miller right there down the middle. I would say in all 3 games, whether it's injuries or it's just players not being that good. But the 3 defenses that they played, the Lions, the Giants, and the Falcons. All three of those teams, the secondary is not the strong suit. But still, you got Mitch Trubisky making these defensive backs look like Charles Woodson, making these defensive backs look like Ronnie Lott, making these DBs look like Rod Woodson. They look like Hall of Famers, Pro Bowlers, All Pros, whatever you want to name them. That's how they look. Bleedy Ray Wilson, whatever his name is, you got this guy picking you off. But after that, Matt Nagy was like, I can't let this happen again. I don't believe Mitch Trubisky is going to bring my team back this time. I just don't believe it. I got lucky in game one, week one against the Lions. I don't think it's going to happen in week 3. So what does he do? He calls in Nick Foles, the man who should have been starting from the get-go. But Nick Foles come in, the savvy veteran, cool as hell. He got the visor on and stuff. I don't know if he expected to play. With Mitch Trubisky as the starting quarterback, you should always expect to play. But he was rocking the visor at first, and Nick Foles typically don't wear a visor. Yeah, he took that visor off, but it looked like he still had on shade. This man was still cool, calm, and collected. That's what this offense needs. They need somebody that's going to stand in the pocket, not moving around, getting happy feet, not getting happy feet up here either. They need somebody that's going to be mentally tough to lead this team down the field. Whether it's a comeback or whether you're trying to salt the game away. They need a quarterback that's just going to do what they got to do. Don't oversimplify anything. Just do you. Nick Foles going out there, and all he doing is taking what they give him. Not rushing anything, staying back in the pocket, finding the open guy. And yeah, I already know people going to come out and say his completion percentage was worse than Mitch Trubisky's. Well, yeah, first of all, he's trying to come back from a 16-point deficit. You got to throw the ball. You got to take chances. There was people talking about this at the beginning of the season. They were talking about this. They were saying this is the reason that Mitch Trubisky beat out Nick Foles. Because Mitch Trubisky takes chances. He throws the ball down the field. Nick Foles, he's a check down guy. He's going to throw the ball 5 to 10 yards. That's Nick Foles' game. Didn't look like that yesterday. Nick Foles threw the ball deep. Nick Foles took chances. Mitch Trubisky can take all the chances he wants down the field. Guess what he ain't doing? Completing the passes. He's the one dinking and dunking. Throwing 3-yard passes, 5-yard passes, 7-yard passes, 10-yard passes. You don't see Mitch Trubisky go out there on the regular completing 15-plus yard passes, 20-plus yards. You don't see that. Nick Foles came in the game and he took chances. He's a veteran. He see what we see. He see a secondary that ain't that good. And once they lost Grady Jarrett, their best defensive player, and then they lost Denard in the secondary who was having a good game, it was over with. This offense looked rejuvenated. I ain't saying this is going to always be the case because Nick Foles is not a great quarterback. But in that game against the Falcons, he came in and he breathed in life to that Bears offense. And I heard this morning on Good Morning Football. But the word is, coming back from the 2-minute warning, Nick Foles told Anthony Miller, if there's an all-out blitz, run to the L. Run to the L in the end zone. Run to the L in Falcons. And what do you know? It's an all-out blitz. Nick Foles stays in the pocket. Stays there. He knows he's going to get hit. Stayed in the pocket, threw the ball to the end zone, to the L. And guess who was there? Anthony Miller for his second game-winning touchdown this season. From everything that I heard, that's a real story. And I believe it because you see the embrace between Anthony Miller and Nick Foles after that touchdown. It's basically like, hey, I told you. I told you where to go. And you ain't let me down. And the Bears held on to win the game. They intercept Matt Ryan at the end. Deshaun Gibson get the interception. GG's, good game. The Bears come back, score 30 points, over 400 yards of total offense, 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Should have been 4. But Nick Foles comes in and saves the day, leads the comeback, and the Bears are 3-0. The Falcons, yeah, they choke. They choke yet again, but that's what the Falcons do. We saw it last week. We saw it in the Super Bowl against the Patriots years ago. Dan Quinn, unless there's a miracle this season, Dan Quinn will be out of a job at the end of the season. But the Bears come back. They beat another NFC opponent on the road. They win the game 30-26. Got to give the defense some credit too at the end. the defense at the end of the game in the second half, they were great. But of course, the lead story is Mitch Trubisky being benched and Nick Foles coming in, leading the Bears to victory. And there's still a phrase from Lovie Smith: Nick is our quarterback. But the Bears are 3-0. They play the Indianapolis Colts next week. It's not going to be an easy task. The Colts do have a good defense. So let's see, now that Nick Foles is the starting quarterback, how does he fare throughout the game? Is he going to lead this Bears offense to be more consistent? Or is it going to be the same old shit we've seen over the last 2 years or so? But only time will tell. But the right man is the starting quarterback, and the right man is on the bench with a clipboard and a baseball cap. But I'm out. Like the video and share the video. And do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Until next time, take it easy. God bless. Peace.